Good evening. My name is AJ Farshian, and this is Dr. Martin Dayton, and we're coming to you live from American Academy of Stem Cell Physicians. Today with us, we have 7 of the most brilliant minds in the field of stem cell and regenerative medicine. I'm going to hand the mic to Dr. Barbara Kritika. Please tell us about yourself.
Hello, I'm Barbara Kritika, and I run an IRB, which is an institutional review board that approves studies from an ethical point of view and helps physicians and small companies to validate the research that they're doing. So what I'd like to see for the American Academy of Stem Cell Physicians is that they become an example of how we can do regenerative medicine in a competent and compliant manner and help provide these brilliant and amazing treatments safely to patients. So what I'd like to see them do is collect data and validate the procedures that they're doing in their office. And I think this group can do it because they are dedicated.
I'm Dr. Dennis Harper. I've been in practice nearly 40 years now. And my goal from when I started was to change the world. And I think all of us have that idea in our mind. The question is, how do we go about it? The opportunity we have now in healthcare is reaching a precipice of going one way or the other. And I think alternative care has such a huge place in where we go, but we have to be smart. We've got people going out there competing and doing things for economic interest more than what we really need to do for patients and to preserve the system. So if people do studies, I appreciate, I support that. I am the bushwhacker. You want to build a trail across the jungle, call me. You want to put something together, you call me. Fortunately, I'm Captain Kirk. My wife, which I appreciate, Shirley, is Spock. She puts me back into line when I get a little far reaching. But the reaching is how we go to the stars. And to go to the stars, we need to reach. And I'm always one of these people who looks at evidence-based medicine, for instance, and say, this is semi-worthless. Yes, it's a good foundation. And I use a lot of my work off evidence-based medicine. But I create things is how we get ahead of it. And with that said, we need to be smart. We use what we know and use it go forward and ask questions all the time. And we continue asking questions will get us solutions where we need to go. So don't be afraid to question the question. And it's so important to do that. Let me paint you a big picture, and then you fill the details in for me. That's what I love. The association, I appreciate so much. It's been a pleasure to come here and speak, and I hope to do more in the future and help propel things along into a very, very bountiful future.
Hi, I'm Professor Dr. Mike Chang. I'm a Malaysian, spending 34 years of my life in Switzerland and Germany, starting a research company with $10,000, 1 table, 2 chairs, to build an empire today with more than 1,000 over staff. We run clinics, we own clinics, we do the manufacturing, we do the research, we do almost everything. And we sincerely believe that through this time is my first time down here with the association. I can see that there's a lot of good energy here with the right doctors, and training is very much a part of this. And I sincerely believe the right way to go will be education. We must educate the physicians. We must educate the patients too, to know what is the right thing. As far as I'm concerned, stem cells in regenerative medicine is not just the future, it's already the present. There's a lot of treatments we can do, provided we come with the right diagnostic and we do the right treatments. And we are going to transplant cells and not the organs. We don't need to transplant the organs if there are still cells for us to repair. Thank you.
Good evening again. I'm Dr. Dimitri Klokal, and same as Dr. Mike, this is my friend and my boss actually. So I work in a European wellness group, and apart from treating patients and we do run clinics and that do regenerative medicine, but we also formulate products and we do research. This is very important, and we try to create new solutions and new products in cell therapy. And myself, I'm example of when conventional medicine meets alternative medicine. And actually, I don't believe in such tags as alternative medicine or conventional medicine. I call it the common sense medicine, because a thing that happens, a very sad thing that happens, is that the knowledge that medical students learn within first 2 years of medical practice, the fundamental medicine and embryology and all, is somehow is neglected and it's forgotten, and they don't really practice that after they graduate. And they just follow the standards and follow the guidelines and recommendations which are given by various authorities, and people fail to think for themselves, people fail to rationalize the treatment that they're offering to their patients, and they just blindly follow the guidelines which are written by various authorities. And a sad thing is that in many countries, doctors have stopped questioning authorities whether they're really reasonable and whether they're really credible. And I also believe that such meetings and such associations are very important because of two reasons. First of all, we have to grow in numbers. We have to bring more doctors on board who share the same ideas and the same vision. We have to educate doctors, and when we're really large in numbers, we will be able to change something, and we'll be able to approach governments and various institutions which regulate healthcare, and with the properly generated data, with the proper evidence, with the proper scientific proof of what we do, we can finally change the future of medicine. And we're going to do it for the sake of our patients, we're going to do it for the sake of our families, our children and grandkids and all, and for the future of the mankind. Looking forward for a fruitful collaboration and cooperation in the future. Thank you very much.
I guess it's now my turn. I always supported camaraderie, I always supported friendship, and this is association. It's one of the created this community of like-minded physicians who not jumping up and down. They just staying together, helping each other. And what was interesting this time, NJ didn't tell me he invited our friends from Malaysia. Guess what? After 40 years, I started to speak with doctor whom I actually visit. He came from Ukraine, and this is my grandparents came from Ukraine. Not too far, but not too close. But anyhow, and we had this similar, the same mentors, if I may say. It's one of the first doctor in Ukraine who started stem cells in 1970s. And then his laboratory continued. It's a cryobiology laboratory, I believe, correct? Yeah. And so I'm looking more for more surprises like this. Maybe I don't know those people, but we have similar mentors, or those people will come, they have similar camaraderie, and what is good about they have a similar view. It's first, it's safety, second, it's equality, and it's like yang and yin, and this is what make a difference for everybody. And looking forward again to see you next year. I guess we're going to see each other this year also.
My name's Dr. Richard Hull. I'm an osteopathic physician that practiced rural medicine for 32 years, 90-plus miles from a tertiary care center. I trained in Saginaw, and at the time I saw the HMOs coming in Milwaukee. They already had a contract in coming to Saginaw, and I read that contract with the doctors I was working with, and I saw desperately we needed patient-physician relationship to maintain. I'd spent 5 months in a 23-bed hospital ran by one doctor in the middle of western Kansas and saw direct patient care rendered by nurses and a doctor with total compassion, commitment, and that's what I wanted. So I found a place in a rural area in Kansas to practice. I did general surgery, I did pain management. I've been twice the president of the American Osteopathic Association of Prolotherapy and Regenerative Medicine. That college goes back to 1938, teaching herniology and prolotherapy. It's been a board, college of the AOA since 1954. So our group goes back a long, long way. We all, in that group as well as this group, give more than we take. There's very few selfish people here that tell half the story. And this is what we need in medicine, is we need a camaraderie that has the patient first. We don't need to be any more involved probably, because most of us all give more than we should probably most of the time to protect ourselves. But I love this group. I love pain management and preventive medicine, holistic medicine, and I like to see results-based medicine, and I hate statistics.
Well, I'm Joe Prida. I'm a statistician. No, truthfully. You know, I'm an orthopedic surgeon, and I wear a couple of hats. So I wear the hat of an orthopedic surgeon, but I started doing stem cells about 15 years ago, and believe me, the environment then was not like it is now. I mean, I really took a lot of grief. This is hocus pocus surgery. I remember I was doing an interview once at ESPN, and some PhDs were attacking me, and it's changed somewhat. I really see how we're moving, and we're moving in the right direction. Sure, we have some competition in this field. We know some of the characters in this field that kind of downgrade us all, that they're the only ones that do things. But there's a couple of things I want to keep in mind, and you'll see it tomorrow in my slide, one slide that I have. Cells, not doctors, heal patients. That's a very profound statement. Think about it. No matter what you have, open heart surgery, total hip, total knee, ultimately your cells have to heal you, okay? And the other thing we need to realize, and here's something you're all going to go away with, the more you know, the more you don't know. Now, you saw those questions I made yesterday. You knew more, but now you know a lot. You don't know as much. So the more you know, the more you don't know. But listen, I try and read an article every day, and I try and analyze it and say, okay, what's good about this? What's bad about this? And the other thing I'm getting into now is, you know, how stem cell age is how we age. I talked a little bit about that yesterday. We really need to look at the stem cell aging pathways, because that's going to be the pathway for us to really attack aging. It's not giving hormones, it's the upstream stuff that we got to deal with. It's an honor to be a member.
Thank you, thank you. We covered a lot of territory, many subjects. What has impressed you the most?
Well, I have to say about this group, there's a level of integrity in this room that you don't see across the broader spectrum. So I'm really pleased to be here with this group, and I have a lot of confidence that this organization will grow, and it will attract like-minded and the kind of doctors that really want to make a difference with their patients and want to see these types of therapies be done right and safely and economically.
And I have to agree with that statement. It's fun. I speak at probably 12 to 15 conferences a year, and this is a new group for me. So I came in kind of wondering, and I was up all night, so I got here at 7:15 this morning and spoke at 8 o'clock, wondering what the reaction was going to be. And they brought so much energy to me after an hour's sleep last night. I feel like I slept 10 hours last night. So you've given me a tremendous amount of energy, and I hope to give back to you also. And like I said in my talk, I see you as the people that can give 100% freely and not expect anything in return. And I think it speaks to what you said. And be able to give that information freely, and we had a great discussion this afternoon. I enjoyed our visiting. Ask those questions. Ask the question of the question. And we get honest answers here. No pretense, nothing. So I appreciate that. So I want to thank you.
I sincerely think this is one of the best groups. I have been traveling to 65 countries, giving at least 30 medical conferences a year together with my colleague here, Dr. Dimitri. We've been doing that for many, many years with our team of people, solely on the research and the application part of the stem cells and cell therapy. The crowd today here is not as big as what we find in other parts of the world, but I can see there's a lot of very good people here who are really ready to move into the next direction. It's like what Dr. Dimitri is saying. We must have a strong voice here. So the only way to have a strong voice is to have more joining our group. Educate them more, and education is the way to go. And we must treat every patient with results and with a heart and with our good conscience, because we cannot sustain without good results. So the result must come. Thank you.
There's two things I believe are really wonderful and make this group different. The first one is that everyone is an expert, and everyone is a self-made expert. People have learned this expertise, they gained this expertise, not because they were spoon-fed or just taught by someone else, but there is a lot of sharing and teaching in the group. But second thing is that everyone is very passionate, and people really do risk sometimes even their career and reputation and all, and who knows, even life and things like that in the long run, but they're still there to go into the unknown, go into darkness, and do something against the mainstream, and try to validate what they do, try to prove what they do, and and end up being an expert and creating a group of people, of experts who are happy to share and to teach each other and to share the knowledge and of different techniques, different ways of implantation and use of different products and different protocols. This is absolutely unique. And I believe that we should have a journal, something like that, and we should have more conferences, we should invite more people, and we should publish some abstracts, or short presentations or case series or articles and so on and so on. It's definitely should be the next step, and I think we should look into that maybe next year. Thank you.
I still remember my grandfather. He always says you could always learn from everybody. And even though I had today 2 students, almost 2 hours, to do 2 injections, each of them, I still learn from them. We're going to use right now a little bit different assessment, how to do intranasal implant, how to do not only more practical, but more faster. So I would like to say thank you for those people who somehow, maybe they don't even mean, but they help us to learn and improve and to reach our new goals and new skills.
I think everything's pretty much been said, but this is the one thing. I've been involved in a lot of groups, and this is the second one. The American College of Osteopathic College of Prolotherapy has the same kind of signature there. Although the group in the almost 40 years I've been involved with them has split 2 times. We have to be careful that we're all of one accord, that our agenda is patient care. Our agenda is not personalities or who's in charge, but that we advance the forefront to the patient. And I got told several times to not ask questions, to shut up. I even once, after asking a question or telling a surgeon that we needed to clamp off the aorta in a ruptured aneurysm, and they were a urologist and a general surgeon doing it, and I was a 4th-year senior. And they finally, on the 3rd time I said, we've got to clamp the aorta, we can stop these vertebral arteries, after we clamp the aorta. The cardiovascular surgeon walked in and said, why in the hell haven't you clamped the aorta, after I had already been sent out and disgowned? But there are no dumb questions, and the other thing is Will Rogers said, I never met a man I didn't like. I've met lots of men I don't want to be around. But I've never had somebody, positive or negative, that I can't learn something in a positive realm from. And that's the other thing I think we need to do is realize, even if somebody grinds us a little bit the wrong way, look at them and see what they can give you.
One thing we really have to be cognizant of, there's still a lot of people out there that are attacking us, a lot of people in the press. Not just their competitors. I mean, they're saying they're just not good. We really need to learn to police our ranks. There's a lot of people out there that are doing things that are totally ridiculous. They're getting no results from, charging people all kinds of money. And that's what's going to make us or break us. And if we don't start doing it, the government's going to do it for us, and we're not going to like the way it's going to be. Thank you.
Thank you. We had a lot of clinical information. Which is most impressive or most exciting for you?
Well, I have to say, I've always believed that these stem cell therapies need a lot of support. Something about something was said today about the soil. I've always thought that if you prepare the body for these kinds of treatments, and then you take care of it after, you're going to have significantly better efficaciousness. And this is true, and I see in this group, in a lot of the talks today, they were about supporting therapies. And I'm glad to see that there is a lot of support for that. Like you said, alternative medicine, complementary medicine, now we call it integrative medicine. I believe that now it's really time to build a physical bridge, not just talk about integrating it, but to actually practice it, and to practice treating the whole patient instead of just thinking of them as, oh, here's a receptacle for these cells that I want to put in somebody. No, really treat the patient.
Most thing I've seen, and one thing I do, and when we were talking today, I have enjoyed, because I got a lot of questions today, which I love. But it makes me think, and I love to think. And one thing I've got about teaching is it makes you think. And it makes you a heck of a better practitioner. So as far as clinical data, it's interesting. I tell doctors, and I sit down with them, and I coach them on not listening to their patient. Let me frame that. Most important lesson I've learned is listen to the patient's body. A patient will generally never tell you the truth. They'll never tell you why they're coming to the office. They'll never tell you what's really wrong with them. They tell you something they want to be dealt with, not what their body wants dealt with. So my best clinical pearl in what I look at, and what I saw today in watching everyone go around, is, are we listening to the patient's body? Are we paying attention to what they need? And then are we addressing it in a way that makes sense? And I think that goes to the preconditioning I was talking about, to the follow-up with care, and actually looking at the patient. I see so many people, and this is where you talk about the associations being bad. They take a stem cell and, oh, we're going to stick it in the knee and make it better. No preconditioning, no education of the patient, charge them $5,000 or $6,000, and they get no results. And then they can't figure out why. Well, stem cells are sucky. Not the issue. Again, when, how, and listening to the patient. Those are my pearls that reinforce today watching. Thank you.
Now, I always believe in medicine, or even with stem cells in regenerative medicine, that it's just like a Samsung phone or an iPhone. Every few months, there'll be a change with a new model. And most of the time, you'll be changing the phone too. Because why? You have some new features, you have new memories, you have faster pixel, more cameras in the phone. So the same things go for all of us. We will learn until the day we die. Everything is progressing at a very fast pace. So again, with the diseases, they're coming out with new diseases every now and then. So you have to come with new treatments and new modality of treatments. At all time, I will always still say that even with the application of the stem cells will not cure all kinds of disease. Stem cell may not work in case of autoimmune to a certain extent. So we have to understand what sort of disease we are treating. But all in all, we still have to, like the rest of the doctors are saying, we have to diagnose the patient properly and do a detoxification, and then come with the repair. Then we optimize the patient in the best position, we treat the cells, and this is where you have the best results. Thank you.
Yeah, it is truly amazing, I mean, the fact that almost all speakers that we're talking today, there's a lot of similarities in what they talk about and in what they practice. It means that they really do think alike. And the type of treatment and the therapies that were spoken today, apart from the stem cells or any cell-based therapies, very much sort of they're synergetic, or sometimes it is the same type of treatment, but just approach from a different point of view, different angle, or labeled differently. And that's very important, and that's what Barbara said, that you need to prepare patient, because cell therapy and the stem cell treatment should not be done to the walk-in patient. It's not a hit-and-run type of a medicine. It's not just jump on a patient, jab with cells and send him back home. It is very important that a physician understands and treats the patient as a whole, treats patient and doesn't treat the disease. It is a very banal, sentence, but unfortunately, majority of the doctors do not follow this. They still, until now, they're just treating the disease, the diagnosis and all, and not the patient. That's very, very sad. And a second thing that I was really glad and was very happy to be here is the practical part. To be able to share and to see how your colleagues are doing that, and to share even some techniques which are maybe not that complicated, maybe not that difficult, but little nuances, little some tiny features or some specialties, you know, and so on in every technique, they really do matter a lot. And if we can really do the hands-on and help each other and really hold the hand of each other and guide how exactly it has to be injected, implanted, and all that's very, very important. So practical skills are very important. Thank you.
You remember, I guess everybody remember, right? About 200 years ago, what was the big deal in medicine? If you are a medical doctor, you should not wash your hands, right? So incidence of mortality in delivery, it was very high. So those Johnson & Johnson guys, they understood and they took a niche. And they started to provide the first soap and then some other stuff. And guess what? They make a business, but it helps medicine to look on the patient and to how they provide service a little bit different. So medicine is like a fashion. You know, today we're doing one soap, tomorrow it's another soap. You know, in a month from now, they're going to use something else. So we really have to stay on the main thing. We have to do what is right. We have to do without sacrifice to support integrity. And one of the first lessons I get in medicine, in 1956, there are a lot of Chinese doctors went to Russia. Well, they went. Anyhow, they were here and taken, and they were taught elite medical school in Leningrad and in Moscow, some doctors. And one of the first lessons I learned from them, we were outside on a red square, and people walking around, and they said, now you have to take exam. You look how they walk, and you tell us what you think body is telling us. What's the problem do you feel? Now, after that, they'll send you to start to talk to this person, and you come to this person, and you say, I'm really sorry, I'm just young doctor. Could you tell me, is this what you have? And some those people, strangers, didn't take it too friendly, if I may say. But it taught me quite a few lessons. So if somebody says, I have some magical touch, it's not that. I have great teachers, and I learned some technology which stays with me. So this is it. So now it's my brother from Kansas is going to talk.
Well, I think we've covered several things. The one thing in the holistic approach that I don't think's been mentioned is the emotional negative energy side of the patient. In the last 5 years, I've learned that one of the biggest things that inhibits my terrain of a patient to heal is negative energy that's gone from the conscious of today into the subconscious of always. And that negative energy plays like a broken record, and there are ways to access it, and there are ways to eliminate it. And as I've learned to do that, it has opened up a whole new realm of almost what I call miracles. But negative energy in a patient, if they don't have faith, I didn't want to do it. I don't want to do their surgery if they don't believe in me. I don't want to be involved with them. If they don't believe in the results, if they have some negative energy trapped in them from childhood that grinds like a broken record on them forever, that disrupts my whole terrain. And it's a part that's been missed a lot by my training and probably most of us.
Very well said. A lot of good comments here. You know, I have to kind of talk about my own journey. You know, realize I'm a surgeon. And, you know, surgeons have a lot different mentality than most docs. You know, you got a broken hip, all right, clear him, get him set up, I'll take him to the OR. But I realized, hey, that's not taking care of the patient. I learned I've got to go back and I've got to learn medicine. I learned, hey, I got to go back and learn about the Krebs cycle. I said, I'm never going to do this crap again. Why should I do it? That's what's going to make it. This has made me a better doctor, not just because I'm getting patients better. It made me learn stuff that I didn't really give a damn about before, but it was important to know.
It didn't make you a doctor. It made you a physician.
think you got a good point there. Thank you.
Thank you. What role do you think our organization, the Academy, will have in longevity and quality of life, based upon what was taught in this conference?
Wow. Well, I'd love to see the organization set an example for physicians, like we said, how to treat the whole patient, but also practice responsible medicine. I mean, I think that's really necessary and important for physicians to practice responsible medicine. There's a lot of new technologies, new things coming out, but really, is it the right thing for that patient, and has it been validated? Is it safe? These are the kind of questions we should ask, not how much money it's going to make.
Well, I think it comes down to setting egos aside and start doing the right things and get ourselves out of our own way and take a look at it and say, what's really the best thing to change the world in a positive way? And I think if you work it backwards from there is your best way to look at it. How do we change the world in a positive way? It's a precipice right now. We're at that tipping point right now. It's huge. And good decisions in the next 6 months or a year, or in next month or several months, is extremely important right now. And I think that's something we need to really look at very carefully. Not jump, walk carefully, soulfully forward.
I sincerely think there's a lot of things this academy is doing so far, and I can see a lot of good energy and the zest among the doctors here, which I don't find it in most part of the world. So that is one thing, and I can see that there's a big grouping of doctors here. The community, in a way, is still small, but I'm very, very sure that with all the education coming in and all the programs and the training, things is going to move in a very big way. Now, let's talk about our site in Asia. Okay, although we are coming from the European side of Germany and Switzerland, in Asia, we have a 10,000 membership among the doctors. So there have been, we started with very few community in the old days too. It goes from one country to another country, but America is a big country. So there's a lot of great potential in here. I can feel it and I can see it very much. And the good part is that everyone here is very keen to know more about new things. And that is very important. Thank you.
I think it's very important that members and fellows of this organization, they are programmed for prevention of diseases rather than handling the outcomes and the consequences of disorders. So everyone here understands that, and they're like wired on that. They want to prevent bad things from happening, and that is the actual key to longevity. It's absolutely pointless to try to run after disease and catch up with that and try to repair things when things have irreversibly went wrong. Okay, so it's smarter from biological point of view, from point of common sense, and from the point of the entire humanity. It's smarter and it's better to try to prevent people from getting sick on a major scale, a large scale, rather than dealing with the consequences. So that's the most important thing.
I'm looking forward to help everybody to be part of the team. So we don't have to be noble. In not only our association, so we could support other associations. So I believe all of us join this movement. And I'm looking forward to be part of this movement because we could do it.
Okay, I think, when we think about longevity and quality, we have to think in terms of perspective. What I might consider quality, another person may not. But again, that's perspective. If you take a multiple amputee who's come out of the war and lost part of both arms, both legs, and learns to have quality in life, how do we define quality? How do we define long life? I mean, there are people that live to be 12 years old, 5 years old, and leave a big dent on society. Is that longevity? For them, maybe. They've done their work, they've been angels. So I think we have to keep this in perspective. I think, we can set a goal for 129 or whatever. But for each person, it's different. And each person, it needs to be a blessing that they receive from within, that they have and appreciate today, and that they have something to offer within the quality of their life. Now, if they have no mind in that, then yes, we've got a big job to do.
You know, not really much more I can add. I think what we realize is, and you sort of summed it up there, a lot of this is going to be personalized medicine. You know, you can't just say, all right, we do this stem cell for everybody. No, it's certain facets of stem cells, certain supplements we have to use, certain other interventions. And it's going to be personalized because everybody's opinion of what's good and what they want is different. Exactly.
Thank you. This is our last question. What parting words do you have for our audience?
I think it's really important for each of us, every physician, every patient, to educate yourself, to really learn the information. Don't just look at the ads, but actually learn, ask the right questions. If it's a patient who's looking for a new kind of treatment or a longevity treatment, ask one doctor, then ask another doctor, and then go on the internet and read, and then go to the library and get a book to read about it. Don't educate. I mean, really, I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it's very important to get real information. And I'd love to see this organization participate in publishing articles, like you said, and case studies and things not just for other doctors, but maybe for lay people also.
I had a minister's daughter, I've treated her since she was real small, came in the office one day, and she says, "You're in such a great mood all the time. How do you do that?" And I said, "Today is the best day of my life. You came in the office today. Today is the best day of my life. I got to sit with some of the greatest people in the world. And tomorrow's going to be better." And I think we need to be thankful for where we're at and realize everything that happens is just situations. She said to me, "What if your office burns down tomorrow?" I said, "It might be the best thing that ever happened." I had a patient comes in, "Damn, doctor, that really hurt." I said, "That's awesome. We're making progress." It's the way we face it. We need to look at it that way. Today's the best day of our lives. Thank you all for being in my life today. And tomorrow's going to be better.
Now, let us all add quality life to our years and not just years to our life. Thank you.
That's it. You know, there's nothing much to say after the previous three speakers. And yeah, let's treat our patients with heart. And of course, let's use our mind and our brain when we're doing that. Because as Fyodor Dostoevsky said, a fool with the heart and no sense is as unhappy as a fool with the sense and no heart. So definitely we should help each other. You know, we should join hands together. We should be passionate to what we do. But we should read and continue educating ourselves and our colleagues daily. Yeah, daily. Thank you.
But it's only love which share and which bonded you, him or her. And this is sensation I try to keep all the time in my office because I never know who walks in my office and who walks out, right? So there's a sensation of feeling of love. It's always helped me to get through all those, how can I say, different curves of my journey. So this is what I would like. Just always keep love in you. If you could have, I think it's one of those old saying, if you could have a love in your heart and peace in your mind, you could stay next to the God.
Well, it's, again, we've got a lot of things said, but again, it's love, it's blessing, counting your blessing, and it's claiming love projected to those around us. And this group, if we can just project love to each other and project, you know, a visualization of advancement in patient care, that positive energy, if the mind, as I brought up yesterday, can control a random number generator, the mind in a positive set can control the destiny of this place.
Maybe two bits of advice. First of all, real simple. Do unto others as you would do to yourself. If you wouldn't do that on yourself, then you should not do it on a patient. The other bit of advice I should give you is, if you want to learn this field, go out and start giving lectures. Because when you lecture, you better know everything in that room because somebody's going to ask you something to make you look stupid. So make sure you learn.
Thank you. I want to thank each and everyone on the panel. Incredible amount of knowledge. I thank the audience for listening. Goodbye for now.